everyone. Welcome to the Just Get Hired podcast. I'm your host, Jessica Fiesta George, and I am thrilled that we have been sharing episodes of this summer series with you and this brand new format. Welcome to Hot Takes. These are weekly doses of scorching conversations with top business influencers, career coaches, people you've probably seen on the show before. But we're diving into the hottest topics in the workplace today, and we're serving up spicy nuggets of information. And what could be spicier? Well, this podcast, that's what it is, because it's proudly sponsored by the Spicy Gnome Hot Sauce. They offer a flavor-packed experience like no other. So you want to join us on a flavor-packed journey that's going to leave your taste buds and your careers craving for more. So make sure you head over to thespicygnome.com to order your bottle today. But speaking of flavor pack, today's hot take is going to take us beyond our company's employee assistance program, or EAP, to address employee health and wellness issues that are happening in the workplace. So we're calling this Release the Rage, and we're talking about a creative path to employee balance. So today's guest I have is a true dynamo in the realm of talent management and well-being. I want you guys to meet Robine Bonner, and she's a seasoned talent acquisition specialist, and her journey is nothing short of inspiring. So let's welcome her in. Welcome to the Just Get Hired podcast.
Thanks so much, Jessica. I'm excited to be here and to discuss the pressing topic of mental health and well-being in the workplace. And that hot sauce, man, I'm going to have to try some of that. It looks amazing.
Well, I know I said a lot about your background, and I mean, you're such an unwavering advocate when it comes to inclusive environments and just letting individuals thrive to make sure that they focus on their mental health and their well-being. But you're the brainchild behind a business called Wreck and Ruin. So that's redefining wellness. Do you want to share quickly what that's about?
Yes, absolutely. So Wreck and Ruin is a mobile rage and art wellness room that I created. And as you spoke about earlier, my background is in instructional design and technology, but I also have a master's in social work. And so looking at this from a psychological standpoint and the well-being of individuals and what resonates with the workplace, I thought, what better way than to potentially have folks come out and let the rage out, right? And so with that, it's all about us providing the PPE equipment, the curriculum based on what any organization might need. For example, perhaps you're having team challenges or communication challenges, whatever the challenge might be, we want to come and help you address that in a constructive and non-judgmental way. And that's what Wreck and Ruin is all about. So you let the rage out with various articles of, we have printers and we have lockers and we have whatever we can stuff in our mobile unit to bring out to you, where you can just let the rage out with baseball bats, golf clubs, wrenches, you name it. And there is no right or wrong way of letting that rage out. We also want to include music if that's what folks would like, because we have done research on VAC, the visual, auditory, and kinesthetic benefits of wellness and whole wellness. And we will happily plug in your music into our Bluetooth speakers for you to, again, let that rage out to your favorite tunes. And then once you've let that rage out, the constructive and destructive part comes into play with the art and wellness, where you can, as a team, build something together on a canvas or individually. And that is something that you can take with you. You can talk about it after you've come together as a team or individually, what it was you were feeling, how you're feeling after you've let that rage out. And it's just a great way to, once again, be in that space that's non-judgmental and safe.
Well, I was telling you before we push the record button, I need you to come here to Florida because it's been one of those days and I really feel like I need to
Anytime.
get some rage out. But so I feel like it's such an innovative program. It goes beyond the traditional, offers a unique outlet like this mobile rage and like an art room service. So I'm picturing employees channeling their stress into art and just venting frustration in a controlled environment. And it's all about providing an outlet for their emotions that words probably just can't express, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And what a great way to do that, and what a great way to say that, Jessica. It's encumbering. It's this opportunity, because no one is right or wrong in how they feel. It's just a,
Absolutely.
how do I creatively let that outlet go, as well as safely. And I use that word many times because it's so important that we are looking at that from a safety aspect, which is why I mentioned the PPE equipment, and making certain that we are in a controlled space.
Okay. Well, today's hot take, we have 15 minutes to get through employee wellness programs and how companies should address mental health at work. So are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right. So my first question to you is, why is it that embracing mental health and well-being has become such a hot topic when it comes to employers and employees alike?
Absolutely. That's a fantastic question, Jessica. In recent years, there's been a profound shift of how we view mental health. No one is unaffected by the pandemic that we've all experienced. And with that, society as a whole is becoming more aware of accepting those facts, that mental health is something that is just as crucial as our physical health. Employees and employers also alike need to recognize, or should be recognizing, that mental health workforce is a more productive, engaged, and resilient one. Long gone are the modern workplaces where we work 9 to 5 and leave it all at home. Many of us are sharing our spaces that are, i.e., our workspaces, with our home spaces, and everything in between. So we're certainly in that area of blurring some of those boundaries. And
Mm-hmm.
this has, of course, led to an increased stress of burnout, making mental health support a top priority. And employees are now demanding more from their workplaces than ever before. They're
Yeah.
seeking environments that value their well-being as much as their performance. And that, I
Well,
believe, is why we're starting to see that influx.
yeah. Well, I mean, the pandemic you mentioned earlier, I mean, it's turned the spotlight on mental health issues. I think I read something about 76% of workers are feeling the effects. And it's crazy how over 200 million work days are actually lost annually due to untreated mental illnesses. Maybe you can share some thoughts on how employers can set up their processes and beyond the usual, I should say, strategies, similar to what you're doing with Wreck and Ruin. But what are some ideas that you might have that employers can step up their game?
Absolutely. Well, as I said before, employers have a pivotal role to play in promoting the mental health. We want to make certain that we're fostering that culture of open communication, encouraging conversations about mental health, and reducing any sort of stigmatism around that, and creating that environment where employers and employees are comfortable seeking help, right? And those EAPs are phenomenal. I don't want to discredit any of those. They're phenomenal resources. But there's also, regular workshops that employers could offer with relation to stress management, mindfulness, right?
Right.
The balancing of work life. I know that sounds like a lot of lip service when we're discussing that work life balance, but it really is a thing. And what
Mhm.
does that mean? And what does that mean for each employer? And what does that mean to each employee? And really, coming together with that. Various coping skills. Everybody is dealing with something besides their work. I mean, that's just nature of the game of life. It really is. And so with that, we want to make certain that we are reducing that stress, perhaps by coffee chats, informal
Okay.
coffee chats with folks that maybe are a distance. I know in many organizations that I've worked in including my current one, we're remote. There's about 30% of us that are in a remote capacity. It's really great to have those coffee chats to get to know folks better. Scavenger hunts, opportunities for newsletters to be put out, just
Okay.
information, not necessarily about work, but nice niceties like crafts that you can do that are relevant, to the holidays that are soon coming up, or how do you deal with stress in the holidays? Things that we all are very much attuned to, but we don't necessarily always speak about. So I feel like with the opportunity to do virtual activities and various things within our organizations, the sky's kind of the limit. Pet day, cat day, recognizing those things, because our animals are also a great stress reliever. And many of us have those for whatever, anxieties or stressors or whatever we might be dealing with, grief, etc. And it's good to acknowledge those things. Music, talking about music, art, all those things. I think it's all very important, and different ways of communicating with our workforce on the importance of those outlets.
Well, you hit a lot of the questions I had. I mean, we have to go beyond the free pizzas, and I love the scavenger hunt idea. And then it is hard for people who are working remote because they don't feel like they're included with people that are in the office. But a lot of companies are now having to kind of change the way that they are interacting with their employee base. Um, so finding the right wellness program, it sounds like it's a challenge, but it's not like they cannot accomplish it. Um, well, I guess how can companies keep their wellness initiatives effective in the long run? So you had a lot of great ideas. I think people implement them immediately whenever they hear of these great ideas, but then they don't really look at how to keep it going in the long run. So do you have any ideas on that?
I do. I think, again, just creating those safe spaces for that vulnerability is going to be key. That communication is always going to be number one, whether you're virtual or whether you're in office, right? And making certain that employees are able to share that in a safe, non-judgmental space. And I really stress that non-judgmental side of it, because, as I said many a times, there was such a stigmatism, and there still is to some degree, that stigmatism of mental health and
Mm.
how it really truly is affecting us. Or is it just a crock or a cop out, as some folks have also been known to say? So just, again, keeping that all at the forefront and being as creative as you feel you can be within the confines of, obviously it's an organization, but we want to have fun, right? And if you're not having fun, and you're not enjoying what you're doing, and you are feeling certain stressors, you've got to have an outlet for those things. And I think, again, not to plug our wreck and ruin, but I think that's a great outlet in a creative way. But there's yoga you can do online. There's those questionnaires that you can also ask your employees. Make sure that your employees feel like they're a part of this. Zoom fatigue is a real thing, and we never want to overdo anything and cause undue stress, right? Or anyone feeling like they have to do something. This should be very much a come as you are, being a open-minded organization, and allowing folks to have that freedom and that opportunity to speak for what it is they feel like they need as well.
Awesome. Well, Robine, I feel like we have a lot more that we should probably expand on. So I do want to have you back on a future episode because I really think that mental health issues really needs more than 15 minutes. So hopefully I can get you to come back in a few episodes later this year. But anything else that we should include for our audience?
Again, just maintaining that commitment, ongoing evaluations. Employers, talk to your employees. Employees, find somebody that you trust within your organization. It's not a bad thing to have challenges behind the scenes. It's when you don't deal with those things that they become a major issue. And I can guarantee you somebody is dealing with something and you might be unaware. And it's just good to keep that in mind, that you're not alone. You're not alone. And I'm here to advocate for you. And I know that you, Jess, are also here to advocate for all of our folks. And I just appreciate you allowing me to talk on such a crucial topic as this. And I would love to come back and have further conversations.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Robine, for your hot take.
Thank you.
That was so much fun hearing from Robine about Wrecked and Ruin and her business venture. What an awesome idea to help take care of mental health and wellness, especially if you do this as a corporate event. So I appreciate your wisdom on the Hot Takes episode of the Just Get Hired podcast. That was a lot of fun. I'm going to have Robine on a future episode later this year, so stay tuned for that. But remember, these episodes pop up every week for the rest of the summer, and you can watch the videos on YouTube or on Spotify. And if you don't have time to watch, that's okay too. Make sure you listen to the audio version on your favorite podcast platform. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss an episode. Leave me a review, 5 stars, and let's find out what you want to hear as the next hot take. Well, head over to my website, justgethired.com. That's where you can find more information about me, the guests that I've had on my show, and how I can help you. And then don't forget, head over to thespicygnome.com because I want to thank them for their partnership. They've been sponsoring this summer series. Head over, order your bottle of hot sauce at thespicygnome.com today. Well, my name is Jessica Fiesta George, your host of the Just Get Hired podcast. What do y'all want to talk about next? I'll catch you on my next episode.